we had our fantasy shootout, right? So the next topic that we have here is my 2020 all fantasy team. Okay, so Zach, this is just like I built this, trying to figure out who was the absolute best players with value included, and these players were absolutely phenomenal this year. It's almost like the all NBA team. It's my all fantasy team. So here it is. All right, let me know what you think. At quarterback, we got to go with Josh Allen. He was drafted as QB7 with a 72 average draft position. So you're getting him in the 6th or 7th round, just like Wyatt's saying, as a keeper. He finished as QB number 1 with 376 fantasy points, more than Patrick Mahomes, more than Aaron Rodgers. And like I said, Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, these guys were taken in the 1st or 2nd round of fantasy drafts. Josh Allen, you could get him in the 6th, 7th round. Absolute monster. He is my QB1 for my all fantasy team. As for running backs, my RB1, it's got to be Alvin Kamara. This guy was a 1st round pick. Okay, he's a top 5 pick. He was drafted as RB number 4 with an ADP of 5, and he finished as running back number 1 with 377 fantasy points in a full point PPR, 40 points more than the 2nd place running back, who is Dalvin Cook, which is my 2nd RB in my all fantasy team. Dalvin Cook drafted right behind Alvin Kamara as running back number 6 with ADP of 6.0 exactly. And like I said, he finished as the 2nd best running back, but 40 points behind Alvin Kamara. And he did miss one game, but Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, absolute locks. They're both going to be top 3 picks next year. Absolute steals for fantasy. Like, gotta lock in those stud running backs.
So who's fallen to 4, Saquon or Christian?
Are you asking me, or are you asking what I think most people will do?
So you think McCaffrey is still set in stone number 1?
If I'm drafting and I have the number 1 pick, I gotta go Christian McCaffrey. Like I said, the dude's played 3 games. He has 6 touchdowns, averages over 30 fantasy points per game. When he plays, he is the best fantasy player that we have ever seen. LaDainian Tomlinson, right there with him. But C-Mac, Dip and Dot, Run CMC, Christian McCaffrey, love him. He's my number 1. However, the rankings will probably go something like Kamara, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley. That's how I'm looking at the top 5. I also love, I love Saquon.
Yeah.
It depends on what happens in the offseason. Right now, like, I got to go with Saquon at like 2 or 3. Maybe Kamara is ahead of Saquon. Maybe.
And I think it'll be interesting next year, because this is the first season where I can really remember that there were receivers that dominated more than running backs. Like, I wouldn't be surprised to see Devontae go in the top 5 in some leagues.
Michael Thomas sure did this year.
Right. Yeah.
And what a bust he was, which we will get to with my all bust team as soon as I'm done with my all fantasy teams. Let me hop back on that. So we got Josh Allen, Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook. It's my quarterback and 2 running backs. My 2 receivers, you just mentioned one, Devontae Adams. Stud. Drafted as wide receiver 2 with an 8.5 ADP. So he was a 1st round pick in most leagues anyway. He finished as the clear wide receiver 1. And he is leading the league in reception touchdowns, and he missed 3 weeks. Like, I go on and on about Devontae Adams. I've made like $2,000 on his first touchdown bets this year. Easy money. Love Devontae Adams. He is the number 1 fantasy wide receiver. He's the number 1 wide receiver in the NFL. He's the best. At number 2, it's Tyreek Hill. Okay. Another 1st round pick. His ADP was 11. He was drafted as wide receiver 3. And he finished as the 2nd highest wide receiver. Still 20 points behind Devontae Adams. And Tyreek Hill did not miss a game. Devontae Adams missed 3. And was 20 points better than Tyreek Hill. And then my top tight end, my all tight end for fantasy, another Chief guy I talk about all the time. Absolutely love him. You know who it is. It's Travis Kelce. And he was drafted as the tight end number 2 behind who, Zach?
He was actually tight end 2. I guess
Yeah.
Waller over him.
Not Waller.
Andrews?
Nope.
George Kittle.
Yes, sir. Yeah, George Kittle. See, people forgot about him because he's been injured. But yes, George Kittle was drafted as the first QB or the first tight end. But you know, Kelce's the best. He's the best tight end we've ever seen. Best tight end we've ever seen. Over 300 fantasy points. No other tight end came close. Darren Waller had like 250. So Kelce, as good as Waller is, Kelce is just that much better. It's not really fair because he has Patrick Mahomes. But it is what it is. For fantasy, Travis Kelce, his ADP was 17.5 this year. That's low. Like, he's going to be higher next year. He's going to be a first-round pick next year. He has to be.
Yeah.
So that's my all-fantasy team. We got Josh Allen, Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelce. These guys need to be rewarded. Everyone who drafted them, good job to you. You're all great. Touchdown!